CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Victoria police are on the hunt for jewelry thieves after a late-night heist at the Mayfair shopping centre. The alarms went off at the Bay at about 11:30 last night, and when officers got there, they found that a door had been forced open. Inside the Bay, display cases had been ransacked, and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry was missing.
So we had Saanich K9 assist us with a search of the mall while our K9 unit did a track. They did manage to establish a track. However, it did end a distance away from the mall. We weren't able to locate any suspects at that time.
Detectives are still trying to put a dollar figure on what the burglars got away with. In November, you may recall, thieves made off with more than $100,000 in jewelry from the Bay store at the Woodgrove Centre in Nanaimo. Police are investigating whether the two burglaries are connected. If you know anything about it, or if someone tries to sell fenced jewelry to you, call Vic PD or Crime Stoppers. There could be a new trial in the lawsuit against the District of Saanich and a police officer after a man was shot and killed by Saanich police in 2004. Mahencio Camasso was shot during a confrontation with police in a schoolyard. His family sued for wrongful death and was awarded $235,000 in damages. Saanich appealed the decision, and now the BC Court of Appeal has overturned that cash award, ruling that the judge in the original case made errors in handling evidence. It has ordered a new trial, but it will be up to the Camasso family, as to whether it pursues a second trial. A pod of killer whales trapped by sea ice in Hudson Bay appears to finally be free. For at least the last 2 days, maybe longer, about a dozen whales have been trapped under the pack ice, struggling to get air, coming up through a single breathing hole the size of a pickup truck. People living in the village nearby were worried. They wanted action. They didn't know what to do, but they say the ice flows shifted overnight, and it appears that the whales have managed to now make it to open water. Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield is gaining new ground on Twitter from outer space. He now has more than 160,000 followers, which is more than any other astronaut in the International Space Station. Hadfield's out-of-this-world tweets include some pretty dramatic photos of the Earth from orbit.
I think the way that it encapsulates where we are in history as well, of people permanently leaving Earth. With these new technologies of communications, we can directly give people the human side of that.
In March, Hadfield becomes the first Canadian commander of the International Space Station. You can follow him on Twitter. His handle is @CMDR_Hadfield on Twitter. A peaceful protest in support of the Idle No More movement made its way to UVic today. Students at the university rallied outside the bus exchange in anticipation of tomorrow's Idle No More Global Day of Action. Organizers chose the location because it is on unceded territory. The movement began as a protest against Bill C-45, which makes changes to environmental laws and to the Indian Act, and critics argue that it violates treaty rights. Organizers say the goal today was to support Chief Teresa Spence, now on day 29 of her hunger strike, and to increase awareness of the movement.
The plan for today was to gather people and spread awareness, specifically at UVic because it is a site of privilege for many students and community members, but it's also where our knowledge is produced and disseminated. And these are the leaders coming out of UVic, and I think it's important to unsettle this space.
Police were there as a precaution, but the protest was peaceful. Meetings are planned in Ottawa tomorrow, as we tell you, with Prime Minister Stephen Harper and First Nations chiefs from across the country. A Courtenay radio station has fired the DJ who asked Premier Christy Clark on the air a question that many people found to be inappropriate. Jet FM disc jockey Justin Wilkins, known as Drex on the air, asked the Premier in a live interview in December what it was like to be a MILF, a term that carries sexual innuendo. Her response was that that's better than being described as a cougar. The DJ was criticized for asking. The Premier was criticized for her answer. The radio station won't say why the DJ was fired. He told CTV News that his lawyers have advised him not to comment. City of Nanaimo staff are settling into their new offices at the city's Service and Resource Center. For years, they've been operating out of the city's annex. Built back in 1937, it was in desperate need of an upgrade, so the city decided to build an entirely new structure to include all of its services in one place.
The purpose of this building is to consolidate city services for the public, so there's one place that they can come to pay bills, get business licenses, take out building permits, those sort of things, and consolidate the vast majority of city staff downtown into one building that is new, has new technology, has a lot of efficiencies built in it from a design perspective and certainly from a function perspective.
The new building was designed to post-disaster standard to withstand large earthquakes and to have computers and operating systems that would as well. The city's in the process of renovating the Nanaimo's main city hall to accommodate the remainder of the staff and is planning for completion of that by June. The cost to build the Service and Resource Center was just over $12 million. Another building in need of an upgrade is a landmark that Scouts in Nanaimo have called home for more than 80 years now. It's the Old Hut, built in 1928 by the Boy Scouts Association of Canada. It is perched above Comox Park in Nanaimo. Now, the Scouts still own the building, but the property is owned by the city. The hut is actively used by Scouts, but the leaders worry that they fear the worst if it doesn't get the urgent upgrades it needs.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. Like if we don't do it, it's going to cave in, right? The building's going to completely be ruined. And not only will we have a roof to fix, but we'll be having a building to fix and all of that good stuff.
First Nanaimo Scouts says the building is still safe, but it needs a new roof and a porch. So far, the Scouts have raised $4,000 of the $15,000 they need. They're raising more money with a bottle drive at the recycling center on Kenworth Road. To make a donation, you can call First Nanaimo Scouts at 250-729-5081.